guys, it's Hollie here for PlayStation Access. Now, those of you who are old enough to remember UK Resistance probably remember the campaign for Blue Skies in gaming, and this is the perfect game. I'm here with the guys, and we're talking about Yooka-Laylee.
Yooka-Laylee, hooray!
I'm really excited for this. Thank you so much. But let's get started. Congratulations, Kickstarter goal reached. You closed yesterday.
Yeah, it's so incredible to raise that cash. It's just for people to put their hands in their own pockets for a game for us to make. There is nothing that is. It makes you kind of get chills to talking about it. It's the most incredible thing ever. I can't believe it.
Right, is it coming to PlayStation 4?
Yes, absolutely, it is coming to PlayStation 4.
100%.
Yeah.
There you go. So then all this interview can carry on going forward, because otherwise...
There's a large pile of dev kits next to my desk.
Yes.
They are indeed PlayStation.
Indeed.
Amazing. Right, I want to know why you've gone for a chameleon and a bat. Because, I mean, we're feeling like this is very Banjo-Kazooie remnant. A bird and a bear didn't make a whole lot of sense. But how do you come up with a chameleon and a bat? Because I don't put those together.
Well, Steve Miles, who's our character designer, he came up with Banjo and Kazooie and a lot of the Kong family. And I think that the way that he approached it and the way that the team approaches a lot of their games is what's going to be fun, what kind of animals are going to be fun to control and have cool moves. And, a chameleon, obviously, without even, looking into it, is going to have quite a cool lot of abilities like camouflage, and it's got a big tail and like a tongue to whip around. And the bat kind of, obviously we needed something that could help him fly around. We've already done a bird. A bat kind of felt like it'd have lots of other cool properties like a sonar blast and various. I know she's scared of the dark. That's one narrative thing that we've nailed down. So I don't know how helpful she'll be there. But no, it comes from the gameplay, and then he's talented enough to make any. You could have put any animals together and they would have looked cool.
Could it have been anything else? Were there like a selection of animals on the drawing room wall and you're like, no, yes?
Well, there's a bit of a running joke with Steve. Like when we were at Rare, we kind of joked that he had this kind of character called Dead-Eye Dick, Steve, who he's kind of recycled for every single character ever since he started 20 years ago. So basically any character is built off Dead-Eye Dick that was originally conceived 20 years ago. So he just kind of puts a bit different ears, different eyes, and it's
a different animal.
Yeah, it's easy.
Amazing. So what are Yuki and Laylee doing? Like what is the story? What is the world? You said there's like themes around books. I mean, Banjo was puzzle pieces.
Yes, I mean it's a world themed around books. And Paggies are the new main collectible that you'll get through the game to progress.
Isn't that Pages?
Pages, I call them Paggies.
Pages.
Because it's a book. Like, does it make sense to call it Pages?
Maybe I call them Paggies.
Yeah, because you're a southerner.
Yeah. We don't like northerners. So they're kind of adventuring through this world, and there is, obviously there's a villain, which we've not revealed yet, which for some reason these worlds are kind of disappearing, falling apart, and that kind of fits into one of the features in the game, which is the ability to expand the worlds with your pages. So you can decide to go to a world and you can just go through it in linear fashion and go through them. But if there's some of the worlds that are your favourites, or you feel like you're up for taking on some more challenging platforming or kind of quests, you can choose to expand them and they'll become larger and more complex. I think that answered your question.
I think we can say it's not a witch.
Yeah, it's not a witch.
You heard it here first, guys. It's not a witch.
And he or she may or may not speak in rhymes.
Right.
Ooh, that leads me on to my next thing, the writing, because previous Rare games, that's really where their humour came from, right? No one talks, it wasn't voice, but it was the writing that was funny and witty and, a little bit rude and dirty.
We're Brits, that's how you do it, isn't it?
It's pretty much. Yeah. You're doing the writing, from what I understand.
I'd like to big myself up and say that,
I'm so funny and so witty.
Indeed.
And to small you down a little bit.
But really, I think Grant had perhaps agree with me that a lot of it is just the team are a bunch of friends and it's them bouncing off each other and and it's the same with the design, and that's kind of the process of a lot of the game is that nothing's off limits for anyone. If you're an art guy, it doesn't mean you have to just stay on art and vice versa. We come up with ideas and we come up with like funny gags, and I've already been writing some stuff that just goes down like a lead balloon. Like come on the team, and they're like, yeah, it's not going.
Got it, mate.
And I have to go and do something else.
Tune in.
But obviously, there's stuff like there's always stuff that you need to be conscious around, like the dynamic of the heroes, and obviously with Laylee, kind of the sidekick being a little bit cheeky and out of control. Yooka needs to be a little more grounded, and for the player to be able to reflect themselves on him. He's kind of like the everyman, bit simple, and you can kind of decide yourself like what his personality is really.
I think we used to just make ourselves laugh on the banjo team. We used to, all the kind of Mickey taking went on during the daytime. It just bled into the game, right? So like it was just one of those things that we did, and it just kind of kicked off building all that stuff that had the banjo humour. It's been slightly on the edge, maybe like the Sims, the bits that's kind of double level that the kids don't get it and the adults get it too. So I think that it is just the way the team is. So having those people back together again, it's just like it started already. Like the minute the first day they were together, it was like all the Nicky take on the emails already. It's just the same old jokes all over again. It's like this hasn't changed one bit in 20 years.
It's already happening across the Atlantic. Like they've been watching us on like live streams and stuff over here and sending emails saying,
"What are you wearing?
Yeah, exactly, you're drunk. Like, what's wrong with you?"
Yesterday I was kind of blaming Steve yesterday for tons of things, and he's having an email. Bastard, I can't believe you didn't say that, really?
It's brilliant seeing it across the Atlantic, like it flip, where they're abusing us on email. So we started abusing them like live on like various streams.
Nothing builds team spirit like abuse.
So I've had a tweet this morning saying, I really like Steve Mills, really. He's my best friend. I'm only joking. I had to tweet it for everybody.
HR. Anyway.
There's no HR.
Moving swiftly along. Let's talk about the animations, because you're hand animating this, which isn't really something you'll see from bigger studios. And I don't know if you guys might have seen in the background, but these guys have idle animations. Now that's something you don't get in, I want to say modern gaming, but certainly when I was a kid, I'd leave my characters alone to see what they did. It's this little bit of charm.
Yeah.
And that's what this game has.
Yeah, I think it's like, back in those days, like the artists would model a character and animate the character. You did it all yourself, right? So like just like I would do all the music and all the sound effects. That's what you do, right? You had that job to do. You did it, and so they've always done that. Steve, other guys are probably going to join the team too. That's the way they do it. They model a character themselves and then they animate it themselves because they know how it's supposed to be. They know the charm of it. They've invented it in the first place. They don't model it and throw it over the wall to somebody else like a lot of guys do these days. So it's like that's how you get that charm in there, because it's like it comes from their heads, right? They think it in their head and they see it and they do it. It's not like let somebody else do it.
Yeah.
Steve takes a lot of joy from being able to say that he's created a character and brought it to life, whereas you don't see that so often now in big studios with lots of demands and lots of staff. You might have 4 or 5 people working on putting a character in the game, but he takes a lot of joy from doing it himself. And I've been watching him sat there with his little stylus and kind of literally doing it by hand.
It's very small. It's got a very small stylus.
It's actually a pen. Right, attacks. So how are Yooka-Laylee going to maneuver around the world, and what can they do together? We've seen tailspin, but I know you said you're working on a backflip. But what kind of moves are we going to see from our dynamic duo?
So I hinted on it earlier. Laylee's going to have some solar moves, so that's kind of our new projectiles, and they'll also have there'll be various puzzles based around those and what it kind of sonar means versus a big egg that you'd fire. We already announced that we have the ghost writers in the game, which are kind of spooky writers that you'll kind of hear them in the world, but if you want to find them, you'll need to kind of use the sonar blast. Maybe don't sue us.
Jinjo! That's right.
And Yooka's gonna. We're gonna see in the final game. You're gonna see a lot more of his kind of tongue abilities and kind of being able to gobble things up and what that means and the properties that he can take on from that, and obviously the camo as well. Everyone asks why he's not wearing any pants.
There's a reason.
You'll find out why he's not wearing any
There's always a reason for not wearing pants.
There'll be a narrative reason.
The narrative reason.
Yeah.
Right, the hub world. Is that what we're going to see? Being able to sort of have a central location where you can come in and move around the world, or is it a linear level by level by level?
No. Everything about the design, we're talking about going less linear and more open, and that's what gaming is today, right? Versus 1998. We want to give the players more choice in how they approach the game. You will have some freedom, as I mentioned before, for the worlds and being able to choose to go back and expand them, or you could not do that. You could just play them in a linear fashion and get to the ending, or you could get to the ending and go, right, now I'm going to go back and expand them all.
Yeah.
We're also going to have a pickup in the game called Tonics, which you'll be able to equip a certain number of these, and they will change the properties of the characters. So you might want to, be able to glide a bit further or swim a bit longer. You might be a bit rubbish and need to have a bit more health. So that will change how you play the game as well. And also you can imagine that there'll be, so many secrets that you'll only be able to get if you could swim that little bit further or jump that bit higher.
Right, very finally, there's a lot of feelings of Banjo-Kazooie about this. And, when you spoke about Yooka-Laylee originally, Banjo-Kazooie was very heavily mentioned. It's hard to talk about Rare without thinking about games like Banjo and Conker's Bad Fur Day. But what are you guys doing to really make sure that, yes, it ticks all the boxes for people that want more Banjo, but it's an individual game?
Right. I think that, we're kind of stressing that it's not a retro game, right? It isn't a retro game. It's like we want to kind of look over our shoulders, but look forward as well. So we kind of pull the spirit from those funny times we used to have and instill it into the new game. But also, we want to do new things like musically. I'm a better composer now, hopefully, than I was back then. I don't know. Hopefully,
we're gonna find out.
I know. So I will be pulling out lots of little bits of banjo all over the place, but there'll be enough of it to give you that kind of flavour. But it's not just going to be a complete Banjo-Kazooie sounding soundtrack, same with the game. It's going to have lots of elements that you're going to go, I recognise that, or it feels right, or all that kind of
it's a feeling.
Yeah, it's great.
It's a spiritual successor. I think that's what the fans want. They don't want a knockoff. They want a spiritual successor. They want something new. What's going to be important for us is capturing the tone and the feeling that you had of playing those games. It was important on day one when we first showed this game, especially going on to Kickstarter and asking people to donate money, to show all of the elements that would be familiar. So, Grant's original tune, which sounded like very banjo-esque, and obviously a very colourful jungle world, and all of the kind of the kind of the original features and stuff that we showed. That was intentional for that, but the team is not satisfied on trading on nostalgia. So now it's about, right, what are we going to do that's new? It's like we kind of said earlier, it would have been really easy for us now to go, all right, the villain is, a different coloured witch.
A wizard.
Yeah, a wizard,
We're going to balance it.
Good. Amazing. Right. Now, I think I was promised there might be Yooka-Laylee.
What?
Was there something about you promised on Kickstarter you'd play?
Get it out.
Hang on a second.
It's not even in tune. Oh my god. After the
Have you got a kazoo with you as well?
I have, but I can't believe I'm actually going to
get the kazoo.
I'm only going to do like one bar.
That's fine. That's fine. I will have an exclusive in this video.
Is that working?
Oh, it's working. Oh, it's Christ. Hold on, just a minute. A bit out of tune. I'll do a little bit, right?
Go on then.
Under duress, as long as you know it. Spiral Mountain, right? It's the only one that I know. Ready?
This is going to be an animated GIF.
And say, stay tuned to the YouTube channel. We've got loads more coming up.